The worst thing ever is having to keep a secret for a really long time, and 2 years is kind of a long time, but today finally we get to spill the beans and speak a little bit about Element Optics. I'm not going to overcomplicate things too much. I'm going to kind of give you a brief overview to start off, and then we'll get a little bit into the history of how this all came about. So strap in, let's go through it. You may have already seen the launch video that I put up yesterday, or seen things floating around on the interweb. But what you may not know is the story behind Element Optics and the guys involved. In a nutshell, myself, Shane Keller, and Ted Beer came together, had a little baby called Element Optics. Some other guys joined the family, and now what we're sitting with for a start are 3 awesome rifle scopes in 3 totally different price tiers, with an awesome family of very reputable dealers all over the world, and guys who are hands-on, passionate, and super keen on customer service and connecting with the shooting community. This video is by no means a review of the products. We'll do that separately for each of the models, but quick intro on the 3 models that we have on offer at the moment. The Helix is a 6-24x50 second focal plane scope, which will retail for about $400 and really gives you a ton of features for that price range, such as zero stop, stainless turrets, removable throw lever, and a tool-free resettable zero. It's available in MIL or MOA with the reticles in the same units as the turrets. Thank goodness, right? That's actually the Helix on my 22-50 at the back there. You can see it's a little bit smaller than the other scopes. We've got the Titan, which is a scope that's priced around $800 retail, so kind of middle of the range. We've got 34mm tube, we've got 5-25 first focal plane, we've got 56mm objective lens, we've got illuminated reticle, parallax down to 15 yards, turrets that are 10 mils or 25 MOA per revolution, really solid clicks, and a zero stop, tool-free resettable turrets. Basically all the features that we have on the other scopes as well. So we haven't skimped anywhere with quality. And of course the Nexus, which is the flagship, basically indestructible, insane tracking precision, up there with some of the best scopes in the world. And while it will retail for about $1,500, which might be pretty expensive for many people, you are again getting good value for money, considering it's pretty much in the same quality tier as some of the $2,000 plus scopes that I've been using on my channel for a while. A lot of the times you pay for the name. We don't have a reputation yet, so you want to make sure that you get every cent out of what you pay for. Let me actually show you the Nexus quickly. So this one right over here on my 300 WSM, you'll have seen me blasting monkeys and stuff with this over the past few weeks on YouTube, but I don't know if you can hear this. I'll put it close to my mic. Oh, that's really good. You're gonna love this one, I promise you that. So I'm sure you're dying to hear the story behind Element Optics and how it all came together. Let's get into it. So basically, since early 2016, which is 4 years ago now, pretty much to the T, I've been given a number of opportunities, probably 6 or 7 different opportunities to work with different optics companies on new models. I've been asked to design reticles. I've done 2 reticle designs for 2 different companies. I've been consulted with on design features for different scopes, and I've been asked to put my name on the scopes. That all sounds really great, but there were a few things that I wasn't 100% happy with along the way. You know, nothing against those companies that I worked with, but there were maybe some quality issues or just features that I felt weren't great, that the owners of those companies just weren't interested in fixing. And the way I felt about that was that if my name was going to be associated with a product that I didn't fully like, I wasn't fully on board with supporting that product. At the end of the day, I'm a public figure and I'm going to be judged by the products that I'm associated with. And I didn't want to be in that boat. And that's why I kind of withdrew a little bit from some of the scope companies that I was working with, took a deep breath and say, okay, I'm not going to be involved in any scope companies unless I am given, in a sense, free reign to actually put my heart into it and to work with people who are actual shooters themselves and passionate about scopes. and have free reign to kind of run with it, work with the manufacturers I want to work with the designers that I feel comfortable working with, and that's where Element kind of comes in. You could say that the beginning of Element Optics was in March 2016 when we met with our first potential manufacturer, but things only really started to happen in 2018 when YouTube had their little episode of deleting channels left, right, and center, demonetizing channels, and basically forcing us to look for alternative revenue streams. Ted Beer and myself, who are both passionate about shooting in general, got together at IWA 2018. We walked around the show, we looked at different scopes, we made notes on what we liked, we didn't like, which reticles we felt were best for the applications that we used them for, which manufacturers had turrets that felt good, which didn't have turrets that we felt good. We agreed on many things in terms of features. One thing we didn't fully agree on is reticles, but that's totally okay because reticles can be very subjective. You don't get a perfect reticle, you only get a perfect reticle for your purpose. And it's actually really good to have two different points of view from two different sides doing two different things. So you'll even see now the reticles we have in the Element lineup, the MIL reticles I did and the MOA reticles Ted did. And there was no clashing there because we're looking at things from two completely different perspectives. We feel that approaching things from different angles is good, and that's exactly what we've done. The big breakthrough came when Frederick Axelson, who had been kind of watching from the sidelines as Ted and I, who aren't businessmen by any stretch of the term, kind of fumbled away through things, pulled us aside, sat us down and said, guys, clearly you are passionate about this. Clearly you want to make this happen and you are willing to do the hard work. I want to invest in this company. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. I'm not going to control you. Here's the funding. Go out and get it done. And for the first time ever, we had an investor who didn't want to, control us like puppets and cut corners. He put his trust in us and we were able to run with it. And boy, did we run. Ted and myself started brainstorming what features should be put into kind of a perfect all-around scope to start things off based on the research that we'd already done, and that's how the Nexus was born. We worked on the Nexus for about a year. We consulted with many other shooters, bouncing ideas off them. We kind of did our reticles design separately, but came together on all the features and made sure that we agreed on things. And this was fully our design. We weren't gonna take an existing scope from an OEM manufacturer and just rebrand it. We did all the external designs ourselves. We decided on all the features. We basically dictated what we wanted in the scope. The scope was basically designed before we even approached the manufacturers about putting it together. The only thing we didn't do basically is the optical engineering and the internal mechanisms of the turrets and stuff, because obviously we don't have any experience with that. We decided that we wanted our flagship to really be a flagship and to not make the company a big money-making scheme where we get cheap internal components that you'll probably never see in your life and just tell you that it's good. We went straight to the best manufacturer we could find, a manufacturer that makes some of the best rifle scopes on earth, scopes that you've seen on my channel over the last while, and we decided that we wanted them to do all the critical components, the optomechanical engineering inside, the turret assemblies, the glass polishing, all that stuff that requires a lot of expertise and a lot of very precision machinery. We didn't want to cut corners, and so when you see the Nexus, you really do see a flagship. And then around halfway through last year, we got Shane Keller on board. I'm sure you know the name Shane Keller. He's very well known in the airgun world. Shane was working for Utah Airguns at the time and really enjoying himself there, but was excited at the prospect of being part of something new. Shane is not only a really good shooter, he's won extreme bench race before, but he's also worked with optics companies in the past and therefore could bring that experience to the table. Shane and I also spent a lot of time last year traveling around, visiting manufacturers, building relationships with them, having extended conversations with them about their manufacturing and assembly procedures, actually physically going through the entire assembly procedure of the scopes, seeing how the components are manufactured, and then sitting down with the manufacturer and actually implementing our own quality control tests that they have to sign off on before the scopes are released from the factory. Very, very important. We want to make sure that we have not only full knowledge of every process that the scopes go through, but full control over the quality when they leave. So you'll see when you buy an Element Optics scope, there will be a test card included in the box that has a date on it and that's signed off. And you know when you see that signature that scope has been put through a set of quality control tests decided by myself and Shane, and it has to adhere to those qualities. So hopefully that means something to you. Some of these tests, in case you're wondering, include a recoil simulation of a 50 BMG to check for point of impact shift, collimator checks for reticle alignment, reticle calibration, optical clarity, and of course turret tracking and return to zero, amongst many other things. Remember, we have to be using these scopes ourselves from now on, and if you think Ted, Matt and Shane are going to rock up at a shooting competition with $20,000 on the line for first place with a scope that we don't trust, forget it. It's not going to happen. And by the way, these aren't airgun scopes specifically. They are very suited to airguns because they're parallax down to 10 or 15 yards depending on the model. That's something that we said has to be there for all the airgun shooters, but they were designed to be used on firearms. And you'll see certain reticles, like for example my APR 1D reticle was designed purely around PRS and NRL disciplines. I did extensive research on the reticle features that all the top shooters were using who were winning national championships, and noticed that all those features in the top 3, top 10 of all these different disciplines were the same. So took the same reticle subtension, similar line thickness, obviously changed a lot of things up, but that is a reticle that's based on firearm disciplines, just to give you some input on that. So where are we now with Element Optics? Well, fairly recently, Brad Bonar has joined our team. Brad, you might recognize the name. He's very well known in the optics industry. He brings a heap of knowledge and experience. And with Brad on board, we feel very, very ready to hit the ground running. So IWA Outdoor Classics in Nuremberg, Germany is happening in March. We have a stand there, and I'm sure you're going to see photos and videos floating around over the next few weeks. It's going to be weird because for the first time ever, I'm going to be wearing a badge at a trade show that doesn't say AirArmsHuntingSA. It's going to be strange, but I'm super excited to be working along people that are not only my friends, but also extremely professional, extremely capable, extremely experienced, and you know, people that I would choose around me to build a successful brand with. Does this mean AirArmsHuntingSA as a channel is going to die out? Absolutely not. I absolutely love making videos. Even if I made no money off of it, I'd still do it. You'll notice that it has slowed down a bit over the past few months. I've changed from doing a video every week to a video every 2 weeks, but to be honest, that was inevitable anyway. I've been traveling a lot. Editing is a long process, and I was burning out. I feel much better now that I've kind of stretched that out a bit. So don't blame Element Optics for that. Blame the horrible process of video editing and 17-hour flights. Future plans, well, for now we're starting with these 3 models, but we'll add other stuff down the line when we're ready. Maybe something like a red dot sight to go on Stumpy over here, or a crazy like 50 times magnification bench rest scope with a fine reticle. But the beauty of this is that if you feel that there's a need for something, you can simply comment or, you know, get hold of one of us at Element. We want to communicate, we want to know what you guys need, and we can always add stuff later. That's the beauty of social media. And that's all, guys. I basically just wanted to make a video telling you a bit about the project and sharing some of the backstory. There is actually a really cool blog post on the Element website, writing a little bit more detail about how this all came about, amongst some other cool blog posts too, so check that out. If you are interested in these scopes, you can take a look at the dealer section on the website. There's basically a world map, and you can click on your country and see a list of retailers in your area. The Nexus will be available very, very soon, probably soon after IWA. The Helix and Titan are going to take a little bit longer, basically because of this coronavirus outbreak. We're not 100% sure when things are going to get back on track with the first order, but they should be available soon. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you hearing me out on this one. I hope you're as excited as I am. Probably not, because this has been something I've been working up towards for a very long time. But anyway, thank you for watching. Got some more Oxwagon Dyros videos coming out over the next few weeks. See you soon.